Welcome back. I'm Carissa Kranz, and there you have it. That is the best evidence we have in this case. What the jury's going to get to analyze, it is a body cam video footage. Yesterday, we heard testimony from a video analyst on the stand, direct examination, cross-examination, talking about the analytics of the video, the delay in the video, what the video means, and what his professional expert opinion is based on that video. And we're here today to also discuss that in studio and on set. With me is Irman Ansari, criminal defense attorney, and Ashley Willcott, a trial attorney. Let's discuss this video. Unfortunately, we couldn't see the jury and how they're viewing this at this time. And hey, Ashley, nice to see you as well.
Hi, Carissa.
How do you think that the jury is taking this video? It's not the best quality. You hear the sound and you hear the commotion and you see the commotion. Do you think the jury is taking this as something that is going towards the prosecution's case or against the prosecution's case?
I think it's with the prosecution's case, because when the jury takes this video in conjunction with the testimony they've heard, and there was a passenger in the car who said no, the car wasn't backing up, as the police officer had initially said, backing up about to run over another police officer. That wasn't happening. So when you take the testimony and the expert's testimony in conjunction with this video, I think that it shows that even a reasonable person in his own head shouldn't have felt like he was being threatened by the car in the situation.
But isn't it possible that, you know, under those circumstances, it was dark outside, there was a lot of commotion, there were hundreds of kids, there was a shooting across the street that was allegedly gang-related, that it might be reasonable to respond to an officer yelling, you know, don't back up, by shooting? Who knows what the officer was thinking? Hindsight's always 20/20.
You know, I think that's true, Carissa, but I also think that in this particular case, in spite of all the chaos, because it is chaotic and nobody knows what ends up, and there are guns being shot and it's dangerous, but in spite of that, I don't think there's any justification or policy allowing for a police officer to shoot into a car with people in it while the car is driving away.
Imran, what do you think? You're here with me on set.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. You know, when you take a law enforcement, they're charged with a heightened responsibility. They undergo training, they undergo firearms training, and they are expected to act in a certain manner when confronted with these sort of exigent circumstances, right? So, you know, the video is really damning to the defense. You see the video, you hear the testimony basically stating that this car was not going towards the other officer. However, you know, that's in direct contradiction to what Officer Oliver stated. So, you know, it's damning video, the testimony is damning, and officers are expected to be in a heightened sense of responsibility in these sort of situations.
Okay, and in these situations, okay, we're having some technical things. Okay, I just heard from the control room we have breaking news, and we need to switch gears and go to the Colorado hearing that we are covering here on Law and Crime. Let's take a look. Okay, so there he is in the orange jumpsuit. That's the defendant that was having his charges and counts read out loud. Before the break, we saw a man crying. The man crying is believed to be the father of the wife who was killed, or the grandfather and the grandfather of the kids. This is a really sad case. It's a Colorado dad charged with murdering his wife and his daughters. Chris Watts, the defendant, claimed that the wife killed the daughters. That's his argument right now, and that he killed the wife because he was upset watching her kill his kids. The charges, just to sum up real fast, were 3 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of first-degree murder of victims under 12, 1 count of felony unlawful termination of pregnancy. She was pregnant at the time she was murdered, and 3 counts of tampering with the deceased body, because 3 bodies are dead. The entire family is gone. With me are 2 defense attorneys, which we very rarely get, Ashley and Imran. Before we go to break, I want to give you both an opportunity to just comment on what we saw real first. Ashley, you go first.
Sure. And so I'm not a defense attorney. I do a lot of trial work, and I serve as a judge currently. But what I want to point out in this case is just a couple of things. Honestly, so the defendant has the right to go within 72 hours before the court to hear the charges against him, the indictment, which we heard. Nothing was too surprising. There's no discovery that's been done yet provided to the defense. So they're going to waive the preliminary hearing for now for today's purposes, but maybe ask to have that again. You know, it's such a horrible, tragic case, and I just cannot imagine what kind of defense can be mounted to actually defend this man. I think the prosecution has a fairly good case.
Yeah, and let's just talk about the human element for a second, Imran. I want to, you and I were discussing on break. I mean, he's sitting there stoic, kind of like a sociopath, the defendant, and then the grandfather, the father of the wife, couldn't hold it together. So do you have any comments on how, that is and the human element of this, not the legal element? Because sometimes it's not just about law. It's about, how a jury is going to take the emotions that they see in the cast of characters when it actually goes to trial.
Turn which way?
Right. I mean, this case, you're talking about human emotion. This is the case where it's going to be infused with human emotion. It's a tragedy, right? And it's gripping. This story is really gripping the nation, right? So you look at this case. You have a father who is murdering, allegedly, his 2 children and his wife. You can't get a more gripping, emotional story than that. And one thing that I found curious and rather interesting is that the social media aspect of this. So on one hand, throughout their relationship, the wife was posting Facebook photos of a seemingly very happy family, the sort of cookie cutter, white picket fence sort of family, smiling faces, smiling children. However, you have this tragedy. So it's rather interesting that you have this human element where you have a seemingly happy family and a tragedy which occurs. So the jury, they're going to be, if they're tasked with hearing this trial, hearing this evidence, it's going to be a tough job for the jury. It's going to be infused with human emotion, and you see that in what's believed to be the father and the grandfather of those children.
Right, and I think any case when you have human emotion and human elements like this, that's what makes it so theatrical for us in the for the jurors in the courtroom and for us to watch here on Law and Crime. You're dealing with a case where people are posting on social media, they seem happy, and something cost them or caused them to flip. We have to go to a quick break. Stick with us. We'll be right back just in a moment.